Okay, hi everybody. I'm Tabitha, and I'm here with my fabulous nerd fitness coach Sarah. Uh, and it's wonderful to have a worksheet to walk you through. And if that is where you're at, that is wonderful. But sometimes it can be a little bit tricky and it helps to just see an example. So we wanted to film two examples. So hopefully you're watching this one first. This one's going to be about fitness. And then we're going to do another set where we take you through the same material on working through this from a parenting perspective, which is a little bit more what my skill set is. But these tools like for task initiation absolutely work for both situations because it's when you're just struggling to start a task and your brain is seeing that as such a monumental thing that it really can be hard to just make those steps and move through them. So if task initiation is something that you're struggling with, especially when we're going from those preferred tasks or things we call yay tasks, yeah tasks, to non-preferred tasks or things that you just really don't want to do, or that you're feeling a lot of resistance. One of the ways that we can work through that is to build a bridge by using intermediate or what we call meh tasks. So we like to say instead of going from yeah to nah, we go from yeah to meh. And then our brains can more easily accept the moving on to that unpreferred task. So all right, so the first thing we're going to do in this situation is I'm going to walk you through the framework. And the first thing we're going to do is identify those preferred and non-preferred tasks. So, one of the things Sarah mentioned that a lot of our clients have difficulty with is you come home, you're exhausted, you're on the couch, or you're sitting down and you've got that, like, oh, thank goodness, I'm done. But you made a commitment, you were going to go to the gym. So that's our yeah task. Do we want to start on the couch, Sarah, or where do we want to start?
Sure. Let's start on the couch. I think that's a good idea.
Okay. All right. So we're on the couch, we're watching some TV, we're watching some we're scrolling, we're doing something that's like easy, and our brain is really, really happy to do that. And our now task is we want to get to our workout. Wherever that may be, if that's at the gym, if that's downstairs, wherever that is. Okay. So the first thing that we want to do in this process is we do not want, this is a huge lift. So going from the couch to going to a workout, your brain is like, no, 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 I am designed and built to conserve energy. And I'm doing a great job at that right now. So we're good. Um, so so it's, it's doing its job and you're asking it to do something that's really hard. So you first want to acknowledge that, and I like to really make sure that we delay the decision because that's just too much activation energy for your brain to handle. So the first thing is we're not even going to think about that decision. We're not thinking about we're going to the workout. We're just going to take one step away. So we're going to delay the decision. We're going to say, I'm not going to think about my workout. I'm not going to worry about my workout. All I'm going to do is I am going to do something to break the inertia. So some of the options are to put down your phone, you can get up to use the bathroom, you can set an automatic timer on your to turn like your game off. So I don't know, do you have some that you like to do? Let's do brainstorming of what are some things that we can do to break that inertia.
One thing I hear a lot from people is that they're worried about not having eaten enough throughout the day. So getting up and getting, a protein-rich snack could be a great option. Um, just to get moving and off the couch. Getting a glass of water is never a bad choice either. Just putting the phone away. So like a really important one in my house anyways.
Me
Uh,
too. Sometimes, like I worked with a client for, she was a teenager, and for like the first 2 weeks, all we did was we practiced the interrupting. Like we do the notice and name for Nerd Fitness. We're just practicing interrupting the cycle. And so she was stuck on Instagram. And so all we did was we put down the phone, we went to the bathroom, and we came back, and she could pick the phone back up if she needed to, because she was so stuck in that cycle. We were just working on like, I can break it, and I can convince myself I can do that. So all of those are great options. Okay, so the next thing that I like to do here is think about where we're going. So we're starting off at our couch, so that's our preferred, our yeah, activity, and we're going to our nah activity. So you want to think about where that workout is. Do you actually have to go into the car? Are you going to the basement? Are you going outside for a walk? What is it that you're doing? So what do we want to pick for this example?
So
Um,
big stuff would be, changing clothes probably for a lot of people. Um,
sure.
you know, getting anything you need either in one place or to take with you. Um,
So that is like, yeah, we've got to think about where those things are. And so but let's just for the purpose of this example, let's just pick a spot. Do we want to go downstairs? Do we want to go outside? Do we want to go to the gym? Um where is that workout going to happen?
I would say for a lot of people I work with, it does tend to happen somewhere at home. So maybe we're just going down to the workout room.
Okay. Let's just say basement because that can be like pretty
Perfect.
easy to think through. Okay. So now what I want you to do is we're gonna think about the other steps in here. So we've got our beginning and our ending, but we want to take a look at all the other points where we can add some possible interrupters, right? So eventually we're gonna do the basement and that is where our workout is going to be. I put the clothes in the gym bag here because we do have to like collect that along the way, but we're going to start to from the couch. Okay. So in my house, if I am on my couch, my basement door is actually pretty close to that. But I don't have to go directly from my couch to my basement. I can do a whole bunch of I could even like go upstairs and get my workout on there. So let's think about we need to collect some things along the way. We probably want we might need to change clothes. We probably need our water bottle. We might need a towel. Um, we might need our phone or headphones for music. So we want to make sure that we like have opportunities to collect some of those things. Um, and then we want to think about the places that we go because we don't necessarily want a straight line to go from the couch to the basement. So if we go, I like the snack and water, plus we put water bottle on here. So let's say the first step is we're gonna go to the kitchen. Um, and in the kitchen, we're either going to get a snack or a water bottle. So where are some places that we could potentially go from the kitchen? We could go upstairs to get our workout clothes. We could go to the basement to do something else in the basement. Um when I was dealing with this, I would go I would go look at my guest room because my daughter stays in our guest room downstairs, and I'd be like, okay, well, I'm not gonna go to the basement to do a workout. I'm just gonna go down to the basement to check the guest room and make sure it's ready for my daughter to come visit. So what might be a task that we could put after going to the kitchen, um, that might work.
I think for me personally, I would have to go to my room and grab my headphones,
Okay.
which would also be a good time to change clothes.
Okay. And at this point, we're still not thinking about the workout. We're still delaying that decision. We are not making the decision to work out because you can go get your headphones and you can put on your workout gear and you can go back to sit on the couch. And your brain might need to be okay with thinking that through. Okay. So we've got our headphones on, we've got our clothes on. Um, I might, um, I might think about like if I've got my headphones, I might think about adding a song. So, like a basement song. um, and that might help trick your brain into be like, oh yeah, like this is, like a good dancey beat song to get moving. And okay, and then at this point, we just want to be moving that one step forward, right? So there might be another, like depending on the amount of resistance you're feeling, maybe there's other places that you want to go here. So maybe you need to go to the basement song, and that's enough for you. Maybe you need to add another task here if you're still struggling with feeling resistant. But the important thing is to delay the task, and we're just going to take one step closer to that place where you're going to work out. Okay. All right. Then we're going to think about some micro commitments. Okay. So once we've made it down to the basement or the place that we are working out, What are some micro commitments that we can do? So I have a couple of here. Like I would tell myself I'm not going to get on the treadmill. I'm just going to put on my shoes. Um, and so what are some things that we can do?
Okay, I love this because I do this a lot with clients. One of the biggest things, shoot, that I tell myself is I'm just going to do one set of the first exercise, like just one set and go from there. But even like setting the adjustable dumbbells or just getting the resistance bands in place. Um, you know, People with cardio machines, maybe I'm just going to walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes to warm up. Like that's just going to walk on that treadmill, get moving a little bit. Trying to think what else. There's so many good options here.
Cat cow is one of my favorite because I'm like, oh, I'm kneeling, and I am breathing. I'm gonna practice my breathing.
Another great one is 90-90 breathing. It's super comfy. Like, put your feet up, work on your breathing, mind muscle connection. I love starting my workout that way. Um,
Absolutely. Rolling, foam rolling, that is another favorite of mine.
mhm. That's a
Uh,
great one.
so,
Um, yeah, I mean, I think there's a ton of, usually I find if I tell myself I'm just going to do one set, I'll end up doing the whole workout.
right. Because what you're doing is you're giving your brain something manageable, right? You've acknowledged the fact that like there's resistance and the activation energy from going from the couch all the way to doing like your hardest set, which is what your brain thinks of when you're like, oh, I'm going to work out. It's like, oh my gosh, Bulgarian split squats or, heavy deadlifts or something like that. I'm like, I can't do those right now. And you can't. That's why you have a warm up. So, right.
That is a
But
good point.
But that's you've got to trick your brain into doing that, and you have to acknowledge the resistance and meet it where it's at until you get all the way. So then the last two steps is like I like to go through and actually build the bridge. So we're going to start at that yeah task. So we're going to pick the couch. We're going to get to our workout and just kind of map out all these stages. So we liked going to get water. Then we went to get our clothes. We got headphones. We did a song. We went down the stairs. And then from there, we did, I'm going to say 90-90 breath because that is a favorite. Right. And then at that point, we're revisiting. And if you get to that 90-90 breath and you've got, nope, not feeling it, got to add some foam rolling here, that's okay. Um, so, so then we get to that point where we actually are finally willing to do the workout. And I think one thing that we also need to like kind of acknowledge sometimes before we talk a little bit about the reflection questions is that sometimes you have to give your brain permission to get to that workout and say, nope, I'm going back to the couch because otherwise it doesn't believe you. And you're like, no, 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 Brian, we're just gonna go get a drink of water. It's like, I know, I have heard this before, and I do not trust you. So sometimes it's okay to like head back to the couch and like, nope, I am really actually exhausted tonight, and this is gonna have to come up with another strategy. But from there, we want to make sure that we take a look at our reflection questions. And this is where coaching is so, so valuable. Because that is what Sarah makes me do all the time is like make sure that we're reflecting and I'm making the time and the space to do that. So I gave you some reflection questions. So where on the scale of 1 to 10, how much resistance are you feeling? And you want to think about how much resistance you're feeling at each stage. Because sometimes, like I found when I was doing this and going downstairs a lot, that I was struggling really hard with the going downstairs part, and with the getting off the couch part. But like getting the water, getting my clothes on, the headphones, those aren't so bad. And even like going from the 90-90 to the workout, like that doesn't even sound that difficult. But like, so where are you feeling that resistance? And maybe you need to add another step or two. Okay. Was your chosen micro commitment small enough to start, or is it still too close to a now task? So maybe you chose foam rolling, but you are really sore that day, and so it actually feels really awful. So maybe you need to think about swapping that out. How did your environment help or hinder? Like if you are walking into your bedroom to do the to you know to get your clothes on and your laundry's not done, maybe that's a problem. Maybe that's not like maybe you're like, oh crap, I'm in laundry mode, and then I'm thinking about all the other things I have to do. Or are you walking by your kids arguing and you're like, oh no, I'm not here. Oh,
That was what
um,
I was picturing the entire time we were doing this. It's like a platformer, right? You're trying to get all your items and get to the boss battle, but you have to like jump over the kids and around
that's a
unfolded
good game.
laundry. Yeah.
All right. And then looking at that, looking back at the outcome, do you need to tweak anything? Do you need to swap anything out, or do you need to break anything out into a smaller piece? So hopefully this is helpful. We're going to do another quick video about doing this from a parenting perspective, and walk you through the same thing. So if you got it, then great. And if you want to watch the next one, that would be awesome.